My Hero 1 Justice 2 needs to improve over the first one in several areas. I really enjoy the first game, and if you're new here, you should know that we have the most competitive My Hero community over on our Discord server. We've been holding tournaments since the first game came out, and they never disappoint, despite 1's Justice usually being labeled as a casual party game. This game's actually a decently competitive arena fighter, and even though I enjoy the first game a lot, back when I reviewed it, I only gave it a C rank. And that's a score that I really stand by, because even if I enjoy it as much as I do, it has a lot of problems that are hard to ignore. So with that in mind, today I bring you a list of things that I would like to see in My Hero 1's Justice 2 that would push it beyond that, it's an okay game I guess, to that level of, nah, this is a proper, good arena fighter. Because I know it has the potential to become one, they just need to get a couple of things right. But before we get into it, a word from today's sponsor, Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is the place where you can watch unlimited anime, manga, and drama titles, ad-free, in 1080p HD quality, and professionally subtitled as soon as 1 hour after the episodes air in Japan. If you head over to crunchyroll.com/Globku, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial, which, if you ask me, is more than enough to watch the entire new season of My Hero Academia. The game is coming out next month. The story mode starts at the middle of season 3 and goes up till a very important fight in the middle of season 4. And I definitely recommend watching it first in the anime, because if story mode is anything like the first game, I recommend watching the anime. After you sign up for Crunchyroll, you can watch it on any device. It has been a lifesaver so many times for me. Whenever I have to travel, I can just keep watching my favorite anime on my phone or my tablet. And on top of that, if you sign up, a portion of their revenue goes back into the anime industry. So by watching anime on Crunchyroll, you are supporting the creators, allowing them to make more of what you love. So head over to crunchyroll.com/Globku, you get 2 weeks of free anime, and you'll be supporting the anime industry as well as me. Wow, so much support by simply clicking a link. Thank you Crunchyroll for sponsoring this video. Also, if you didn't know, I stream on Twitch every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and once this game drops, I plan on streaming it a lot, so go ahead and follow me on Twitch, link also in the description below. 1's Justice 2 has had a bunch of things announced already, features that I'm very much looking forward to. Stuff like customization options, you have a lot more of those in the second game. A penalty system for people who rage quit during an online match. They'll be put into a player pool with other players who rage quit. And while those changes are amazing, I don't think they are quite enough to push this game to its full potential. For instance, we touched on story mode earlier on, and I think that's a perfect place to start. The story mode from the original 1's Justice needs a significant level up. You could boil that story mode down to a series of fights with some dialogue that retells the show's story in between. And while these comic strips were an original way to give us simple dialogue interactions, they really used them all the time, and only occasionally gave us some good looking CG cutscenes. Now, I'd love for them to focus on the multiplayer side of things in this game, so I wouldn't ask them for a complete overhaul of story mode. So I would simply ask for more of these CG cutscenes. If you want to make them even better, that's awesome, but even the cutscenes that the first game had still look good nowadays. It's just a shame that there were very few of them, which made the whole story mode feel like a slog to play through. So in order to make it a bit more enjoyable, give us more cutscenes, and if you can include the occasional boss fight or anything that isn't just fighting another character from the base roster, it would be a very welcome change. Now, every other change I have is very multiplayer focused. First of all, and perhaps the most important one, please give us a real ranked mode. Right now in 1's Justice, when you play a ranked match and you win, you get points. When you lose, you don't lose anything, which means your rank in 1's Justice isn't reflective of your skill, it just means that you've played a lot of matches. Because no matter how many times you lose, you will never rank down. It's just a grind, that's all it is. I have played against so many people who are ranked at Symbol of Power, which is the highest ranking in this game, and they're not even that good. And that makes the whole grind in ranked feel like an empty achievement. Congrats, you're now a Symbol of Power, you're the same rank as all these people who rage quit and slowly climb the ranks. A real ranked system would give ranked matches a new life. Because if you found a Symbol of Power while playing ranked, you would actually be fighting against someone who's a good player and not someone who simply played the game for a very long time. So give us a real ranked system, please. Next item on my wish list. I can't believe I have to say this, since pretty much every multiplayer game has it. Let me either set connection restrictions before I queue for an online match, or let me see how my connection fares against someone before I commit to that match. Right now, in 1's Justice, once you press the casual or ranked match buttons, you'll simply be paired with another player and your match will start. In most multiplayer fighting games, or even arena fighters, you can actually set connectivity restrictions before queuing up for a match, or you can see how your connection to your opponent is before you accept. We've all had extremely laggy matches in 1's Justice, despite the netcode being very solid. But no matter how good a netcode is, it can never never be perfect if two players are playing on opposite sides of the globe. And it's happened multiple times to me where I'll have a very laggy match, finish it, and then find the same opponent in the very next match. We both just had a horrible gameplay experience, but because we can't see who we're playing up against next before we accept the match, we're stuck in a horrible experience again. It's absolutely crazy to me how My Hero didn't do this simply because it's the industry standard. In pretty much every game I can think of, you can either set a connection restriction before you queue up, or you can see how your connection to your opponent is before you accept the match. And the fact that it is not in One Justice makes absolutely no sense. Please fix this for the sequel. My next request is a bit of a selfish one. Well, maybe not exactly. I've seen some other people asking for something like this. I'd love to have player lobbies. And my reason is very simple. I want to be able to spectate other players' matches. Now, it's a selfish request because it would make live streaming our tournaments a lot easier. Right now, if I want to watch a match in a tournament, I have to go through share play on PlayStation, which is kind of a pain to set up. And it also means it's impossible to spectate other players' matches on Switch or PC if we ever have a PC or Switch tournament. Being able to join a lobby with two other players and just spectate their match would make that whole experience a lot more enjoyable. That said, it's a very specific feature that I kind of want because I hold tournaments. But lobbies are indeed a feature that's been asked around by the My Hero community. Instead of just having private matches with a friend, you could set up a lobby and play with a bunch of friends. Again, something a lot of games are doing by default. And at first I thought this was totally gonna be in the game thanks to the new 2v2 game mode. Players can take control of a main character with another player taking control of the support character and assisting the main player, making this a 4-player game mode. Since the game was now supporting 4-player lobbies, this would have been an easy addition. But since then, we've also learned that this 4-player game mode might be more of a local thing. You can have 4 players locally, or you can have 2 players fighting locally against 2 other players online. So it's not exactly a 4-player lobby since only 2 consoles are connecting to each other. This is all unconfirmed, by the way, but it's what it looks like right now at least. And if it turns out it's actually true, then the lobbies are definitely not confirmed. In fact, I fear they might very well not happen. And finally, the number one thing that pissed me off about the first game. We need regular balance updates. At first it looked like they were going to stay on top of this game, balancing it, you know, somewhat frequently, removing any broken combos or features. They fixed a lot of infinite combos within the first few months. It was looking very promising for the future of this game. And then they dropped the Inasa DLC and didn't touch the game again. The top tier characters remain the top tier characters to this day. Occasionally a player would find a new piece of tech and make that character climb in the tier list, but for the most part, whoever was broken stayed broken, whoever was useless stayed useless. For instance, Tsuyu had an infinite combo when the game came out. She was one of the scariest characters to find online. They nerfed her so hard she became one of the worst. They definitely overcorrected on this one, which can happen in a balance patch, but then you bring her back with the next balance patch, right? She never came back. She's probably still the worst character in the game right now, and it's not that she doesn't have potential. Her moves are cool, some of her moves are really strong, but the character as a whole is extremely weak. They hit her so hard because she had an infinite and then dropped support for this game, so Tsuyu fans now can only enjoy getting defeats. This simply cannot happen in Once Justice 2, and the studio's reputation is at stake here. It only happened once before. I don't think the studio's reputation has been ruined yet, but if it happens twice in a row, then that's it. Biking will be known as the studio who just dropped support for their games, and that's a really bad reputation to have. That means that when they make another game in the future, less people are gonna buy it because they already know what the studio's all about. At least if their next game has a multiplayer focus, and that would really suck. Not only do I want every game to be good, not only do I want every studio to succeed, with Biking and My Hero Once Justice specifically, they've done something that a lot of anime game fans still believe it's impossible to this day. They made an arena fighter that can be casual fun, but also be legitimately a competitive game. A game with depth, with a meta, where player skill is the main factor to determining who wins or loses, and not some random comeback BS mechanics. It's a game that doesn't reward players who press random buttons throughout the entire match. And I can think of very few arena fighters that have actually accomplished this, and if more studios are able to pull this off, it gives the whole genre more credibility. And maybe people will stop looking at these games as just, you know, funny little party games and actually start developing some quality games with these anime franchises. There's a lot more I'd like to see in this game, but if this list makes it, then I'll be happy. The rest of the stuff on my list might be a bit too unrealistic to expect. For instance, I have crossplay here. I think that's going to be the new industry standard for the next generation. Almost all multiplayer games will have cross-platform. I just think it's too soon for My Hero 1 Justice 2. It's not happening yet. I'd love for them to remove wall combat completely. I don't know whose idea that was. It doesn't fit the spirit of the show at all. And I would absolutely love it if their stage debris stopped covering the camera so much, but instead of toning it down, they're actually ramping it up. So expect more debris in 1 Justice 2. So yeah, I don't expect My Hero 1 Justice 2 to be a perfect game, but if some of the items on this wish list do come true, it will be a pretty awesome game. And My Hero Academia definitely deserves an awesome game. Don't forget you can get your 14-day free trial at crunchyroll.com/Globku. If you've watched My Hero already, I definitely recommend Dr. Stone, Demon Slayer, or Mob Psycho. There's plenty to watch, and you'll also be supporting the channel if you take that trial. Let me know what you would like to see in My Hero 1 Justice 2. I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye.